referee to go and check and ensure whether the decision you took was right or wrong. So there have been dramatic changes, which is just better for the game, because preparing a tournament like this, countries put on millions to set their teams in a good shape to come in and perform. And then one decision changes the game, it really hurts. So I think all these things are good for the game. And then, my other African Cup that I had the opportunity to participate end up sometimes with South Africa 96. I was seriously injured in one of the games, which it was against, I think, Congo, which I had a very serious and severe ankle problem, which made me to be out. We were in the quarterfinals, I think, going to the semifinals against South Africa, which I was out. I was out, which my friend here was the happiest man. He wasn't my friend by then, but he was very happy, and he was excited that I was out of that game.
Now, you're stealing my story now, because I want to say that Daniel over here, he keeps telling me that South Africa won in 96 because Nigeria was not there. I keep telling him the reason South Africa won in 96 is because the Congolese kicked you in the quarterfinal. So, thank you, sir. Thank you, Abedi. Thank you so much for all your insights. I want to move to 96 now, to Neil over here. You can take it's English. Neil, in 96, South Africa were new boys on the block, never played in the Cup of Nations before. Before you went into the tournament, what was your sort of perception of the Cup of Nations? Did you have any idea of how big a bigger thing it was?
Yeah, good day all. And before I start and answer question, just like to congratulate Cote d'Ivoire and Nigeria for making the final. It's been a wonderful tournament and well hosted. Mark, just to answer your question on that, as South Africa, I don't think we had any idea how big the tournament was and what it was going to do for us in the future in our careers. Given the fact, we knew we were an emerging nation, but to have any dream of going through even to the semi-final, the knockout, or the final, I think was beyond our thought at that stage. It was more about starting the competition in a really good vein. And opening game against Cameroon was really important for us to get a benchmark of where we were in African game. And then we just grew and grew. And as a nation, we had belief because we had played Germany and played Argentina in the year leading up to the tournament and weren't beaten by any of them. So, but I think you can't go through that tournament and not speak about Madiba factor. Nelson Mandela was a huge factor in our belief, and it had emerged with rugby in 1995, and then in 96 we felt compelled to do something for the country. So, it was incomprehensible to think that we'll go to the final and win it.
And did you find, I mean, you played domestic football all your career. Did you find playing-wise, was it a big step up? Was the quality so much better? Yeah,
it was a huge step up. And but fortunately, we were a very talented team. We had players in each department that that could step up to the plate and play on the international stage, which was what was needed. And at that specific moment, we had a really nice blend of players in our squad that could support each other when the game was difficult, and then obviously take over the game when it was in our favor. So tremendous time, and obviously receiving the trophy from that statesman, that there will never be a statesman like Nelson Mandela ever again. And it was a huge honor. And I mean, to be associated with these legends that are here in the game today is a huge honor for me.
And you, of course, are the only captain ever to receive the trophy in the losing team's jersey. So I think they stopped that after you.
I was I was an idiot, in fact. I wasn't too clever, I should. You know, sometimes things get above you when you win trophies and the emotions get to you. And yeah, it wouldn't happen nowadays.
Thanks so much, Neil. Let's move on to 98, to Hossam Hassan. 21 years you played in the national team. 21 years. I don't think there are many African footballers who've done that, if any. Plus, until this tournament, with the Mozambican player Dominguez, he held the record for the oldest player at the Nations Cup in 96 in Egypt. So just give us the secret of footballing longevity. How did you manage to stay at the highest level for 21 years?
أولاً طبعاً برحب بجميع الحضور وسعيد إن أنا موجود في كوت ديفوار وسعيد بالتنظيم الرائع لكوت ديفوار. إن شاء الله يعني مزيد من التقدم للكرة الأفريقية، لأن الكرة الأفريقية لها دور رئيسي وكبير، واللاعبين الأفارقة في المحترفين في خارج في أوروبا إثبات وجود، حتى في كأس العالم لينا وجود الكرة الأفريقية وليها وجودها. بالنسبة لي أنا كنت محظوظ الحمد لله إن أنا اتواجدت في بلد كبيرة زي مصر. من حظنا إن إحنا خدنا البطولات أفريقيا أكبر حاجة في أفريقيا كأس الأمم 7 مرات. كان ليا الشرف إن أنا شاركت في 7 مناسبات أفريقية، وأحرزت 3 كؤوس أفريقية 86 و98 و2006. دي كان آخر حاجة بالنسبة لي. ومن حظي فعلا إن أنا شاركت في كأس الأمم 2006 وأنا كنت داخل تقريبا سني كان 40 سنة، داخل على 40 سنة. فده كان حاجة عاصرت أجيال كتيرة. أنا تحياتي طبعا للأساطير اللي موجودين من أول ميلا وعبيدي بيه وكل الأساطير اللي موجودين معانا النهارده. فأنا سعيد جدا إن أنا وجود في وسطهم، وفي نفس الوقت حضرت البطولات اللي هي كانت أصغر بطولة كانت 86. كان بالنسبة لي ميلا كان نجم كبير في وجودي معاهم. ثم 2006 حضرت في الآخر الفاينل اللي كان في القاهرة. أكيد طبعا شعور إن أنت بتحرز بطولات وبتتواجد في بطولات مختلفة مع أجيال مختلفة، دي كانت حاجة عظيمة جدا. والأهم إن أنا نهيت مشواري في كأس الأمم ككابتن منتخب ببطولة كأس الأمم 2006 في حضور الجماهير المصرية. فده شعور طبعا أتمنى إن شاء الله في لعيبة أفارقة كتير في اللي هم صاعدين يكونوا ليهم دور، وخاصة كمان اللاعبين منتخب مصر، وإن شاء الله أكون متواجد مع منتخب مصر الفترة اللي جاية بشكل إيجابي إن شاء الله.
Yes, we wish you good luck for your new job, but I'm sure you'll get lots of questions about that. But let's talk about the past. 98 in Burkina Faso, was that your best tournament, or 06 at home when you won in front of your own people?
متهيألي 2098 كانت صعبة نتيجة لأن كان البطولة كان الفريق التيم كله متغير. كان في مدرب عظيم معانا الكابتن محمود الجوهري، عمل توليفة. كنت يمكن أنا أقدم لعيب ومعايا هاني رمزي. كون تيم كان طالعين من مصر، الجمهور عارف والإعلام عارف إن إحنا مش صعب إن إحنا ناخد البطولة، لأن التيم كله كان أعمار جديدة ولاعبين جداد على المستوى الدولي. فالبطولة دي ما كانش حد متخيل ولا متوقع إن إحنا نكسبها. شاركنا مع منتخبات قوية جدا، وثم لعبنا فاينل مع تيم قوي زي منتخب جنوب أفريقيا، وكان ساعتها كان مستواهم على أعلى مستوى، وعملنا المفاجأة وكسبنا البطولة، وأنا حرصت الهداف البطولة مع مكارسي. فأعتقد إن البطولة 98 كانت تعتبر من أصعب البطولات في ال7 بطولات اللي مصر أحرزتها.
Benny McCarthy, that's correct. Thank you so much, sir. Best of luck for your next job. Mr. Kanu, if I can move to the year 2000, when you took Nigeria to the final. I don't want to jinx anything for the home audience, but what is it like? How disappointing is it when you lose like that on penalties at home in Lagos? to Cameroon in the final? And how long did it take you to get over the disappointment?
Good afternoon. I'm very happy to be here, and just want to thank Côte d'Ivoire, thank CAF, and thank media. And I will come back to your question. Yes, losing at home is not something nice because the home team, the crowds, supporters, the fans, everybody wanted you to win. At the same time, the winning didn't come. It was through penalties. But thank God now we have what we call VAR, because if you go back to the game, we didn't lose that game. But it's past now. So we are proud that we didn't lose the game to Cameroon, knowing that there's no VAR. But now there's VAR, so it couldn't have happened. But yeah, for us, the players, we know that we wanted it. It was difficult. It's not something great for every footballer to win, to lose at the final, even the one tomorrow, which I believe that Nigeria is going to win. But whoever wins, the other team, the players is going to affect them. They're not going to be happy. At least it will take them a couple of weeks before they can really get going. So, and that's what happened.
Can I ask you now, you had a wonderful career at club level as well with the European Cup and all of that stuff. But that success in the Olympics in Atlanta, for all of us who are crazy fans of African football, what was that like? And do you think that 96 side, that team that won the medals, is that the best Nigerian team that ever was?
Not really. Nigeria keeps on producing good players and good team. But 96, of course, from 90 or 88, keep going to 2002. Nigeria dominated not only Africa, the world, in terms of when you hear about Nigeria, every other country is afraid of us because of the talent, because of the force, the way we play our football, the flair, the system. We really enjoy it and we love. And we, the players, of course, we know that we are really good. We believe in ourselves. And yeah, we get results. So 96 squad was one of the best you can think of, from the defense to midfield to the strikers, or just all the whole team. And if you look at the 96 team, the Olympics, like you just said, we beat Mexico, we beat Brazil, we beat Argentina, and the teams that represented them were not pushovers. Brazil, they called it the dream team, but we took over the dream team from them, and that tells you how good the team was.
No, it was fabulous for all of us who were watching there at the time, and some of us were in the stadium as well. So, just a little brag. I'm going to hand back to you for Riyad to poser une question en français.
Bien sûr, on va terminer avec Riyad parce que lui n'a pas perdu à domicile. C'était en 2004. Alors bientôt, la Côte d'Ivoire va passer par ce moment que je pense difficile en tant que joueur. Comment on arrive à gérer? Est-ce qu'on arrive à dormir même la nuit à la veille d'une telle finale à domicile?
Bon, je veux parler en français, moi. Je suis ravi d'être parmi vous et au Côte d'Ivoire. Je viens d'arriver hier soir et c'est un honneur à moi d'être ici pour être avec vous, bien pour regarder le final et peut-être bien aujourd'hui aussi le match de troisième place. En ce qui concerne le match pour les Ivoiriens, ça va être plus dur et plus difficile parce que c'est dans leur camp, dans leur pays. Normalement, les autres, pour les supporters, peut-être ils croient à l'inverse. Ils croient que le match à notre terrain, devant notre supporter, ça va être plus facile. Et surtout devant une grande équipe, et une équipe toujours qu'elle a une grande histoire et des grands noms, et les joueurs même, Les joueurs nigériens qui jouent maintenant, ils ont toute une histoire. Et ils ont des légendes derrière eux. Et cette responsabilité a donné le maximum. Je crois que pour les Ivoiriens, il va être plus difficile le match psychiquement parce que la responsabilité devant leurs supporters et qu'ils doivent remporter la coupe. Et ça, c'est le plus difficile. Pour la Nigeria, peut-être bien, elle a fait leur devoir. Ils sont dans le final maintenant. Ils peuvent jouer moins de pression. Mais à mon avis, la Côte d'Ivoire, l'équipe de la Côte d'Ivoire, lorsqu'on revient de la mort, hein, c'est plus difficile d'être tué une autre fois. Je crois qu'il va être un très grand match demain et avec l'âme que j'ai vue dans l'équipe de la Côte d'Ivoire, elle va donner tout. Je crois que ça va être très dur pour les deux équipes, mais j'espère qu'on voit la qualité footballistique et la qualité de l'esprit sportif qu'elle réunit sur ce match. Et j'espère aussi voir l'arbitrage au niveau de ce final. Jusqu'à maintenant, tout est bien. L'organisation est à très haut niveau. J'espère qu'on voit demain un final qui finit tout ce qu'ils ont fait la Côte d'Ivoire et que le meilleur gagne.
D'accord. Alors, mais on va terminer pour avoir une simulation exacte. Vous, quand vous étiez à la veille de cette compétition, comment vous l'avez vécu et dans les vestiaires, comment ça se passait avec vos collègues?
Bon, chacun a sa préparation mentale du match. Bon, pour moi, il était le 5e Coupe d'Afrique. C'est pas comme la première, la première Coupe d'Afrique, comme le 2e, ou bien le 5e, ou bien le 16e pour moi. Bon, pour moi, elle était peut-être bien, c'est un défi pour moi, et puisqu'on a la défaite on est sorti de la première tour en 94, et après 10 ans, on a organisé à notre pays. La responsabilité, puisqu'on a arrivé au final, et éliminé deux grands clubs comme le Sénégal dans le quart de finale et la Nigeria, surtout aux demi-finales, on avait beaucoup de confiance en nous-mêmes. Pourtant, qu'on va jouer contre une grande nation comme le Maroc, on avait plus d'envie de gagner ce Coupe d'Afrique. On ne le laisse pas pour aucune nation. Et c'est ce qu'on a fait. On a donné le maximum pour gagner et on a gagné, alhamdulillah.
Merci beaucoup.
Okay, guys, if I can bring out the substitutes board, and if I could change you with the gentleman over here, if the more handsome-looking guys could come to the front, please. Shukran.
You're gonna have that thing.
Chief, where are you sitting?
Eh? I'll sit here.
Sit here. Come sit next. Huh? Come sit next to me. Come and sit here, Chief.
The boys here. The boys a bit younger.
Okay, guys, thank you so much for being with us. I want to start in terms of seniority, so I want to start with Daniel because he was 17 years old when he played his very first match for Nigeria, and it was in the opening game of the Cup of Nations in 1990 in a tournament hosted in Algeria. The score in that game was 5-1 to Algeria. The parallels with Ivory Coast and the experience that you guys have had in the first round of this tournament were quite stark because Nigeria recovered from the 5-1 loss, and they got all the way to the final. But as a 17-year-old, how much do you take in of a Cup of Nations final, 1990 in Algeria?
Good afternoon, all. Point of correction, Mark Radebe is my elder. Chief. Old man Radebe. But, you know, football is a beautiful thing. When you find yourself, you know, in a major tournament at the age of 17, just becoming 17, I think the joy is overwhelmed because for me to be in the same team wearing the green, white, green flag alongside a player like Rashidi Akini, that a year before I was jumping the fence into the stadium to watch him. And the first game I watched Rashidi Akini scored, they won 13-1. And the Ganglions scored 9 goals. And for me to be wearing that jersey with him, I think it was overwhelmed. Do I know how important me representing the country when we lost 5-1? Definitely not. But when you have, you know, legends like you know, Rashidi Akini that sat us down and made us to know the importance of representing your country at the AFCON, that's when we woke up. Putting in mind that all the players, that 90+% of the players that represented Nigeria at that AFCON were all players that Clemens Westhoff went around Nigeria and picked. So it was like our major tournament. So, but when Yakini sat us down and gave us a lot of word of wisdom, then you know, we woke up because the talent was there, and like you said, you know, we found ourselves in the final, and apparently, you know, we scored a goal that we should have won the World Cup, and the referee disallowed a clean, clear goal. There was no VAR, and I think that was his last game. He was banned after that game by FIFA, and that's why we Nigerians, like Papilo said, we won in 2000. And I'm telling you that we won in 90 as well. But,
okay.
You know, in records, we didn't.
The record books don't say that, but we'll take your word for it, sir. Now, you obviously then were a fairly senior member. 4 years later, you won the Cup of Nations in Tunisia. But what many people don't know or forget is you were also the assistant coach to the late Stephen Keshi when you won in 2013. So you are unique amongst all of these legends here in the fact that you've won as a coach and as a player. Maybe Mr. Hassan will change that in 2 years' time in Morocco. But tell us the difference between winning a Cup of Nations as a player and winning a Cup of Nations as a coach.
The big boss, may so rest in peace. I think he was the big factor of we winning that major tournament. And of course, the big man, Joseph Yobo, he was our captain, you know, in that team. And, you know, always looking back, experience plays a big role in football. And we know what we went through. All Africans, we know how we always battle, you know, from the first game to define the last 7 games that you play in a major tournament. He will identify if you ask him a few questions later. As a coach sitting on the bench with Stephen Keshi, I think we drew our first game 1-1. I think he was already fired after the first game, if I'm right. The letter was already drawn out. We drew the second game. I think he should have his backpacking. That's just how African football is, and that's why, you know, I'm saying that, okay, the way Nigeria got, you know, to the AFCON, to the final this year is similar the way we won it in 2013. So probably that's why we Nigerians are seeing the light that we're going to win it. But sitting as an assistant or as a coach with the technical director or technical advisor, Stephen Keshi, was an experience, and it molded me, you know, to be more matured and managerial aspect of it, because So many times I get fired up a lot, and when Yobo does something, what the, and after Keshi will sit me down and say, listen, you are still a player in your head. You are a coach now. You have to know how to manage these players if you want to get success. And that's where a lot of players who are coaches now are struggling, because in their mind they're still players. And if you don't think as a manager, then you continue struggling. And I'm blessed to have somebody like Amadi Shaibu that I worked under. I mean, so rest in peace, Stephen Keshi that I worked under. I mean, so rest in peace that have molded me to be a coach. And if we win tomorrow, Mark, want it as a player, want it as a coach, and I'll win it as a commentator beside you tomorrow.
Yeah, I thought we'd do that. We'd help you to that hat trick by giving you the penalties in the semi. Let me move to Lucas. Lucas, Neil mentioned a little bit the Mandela factor, but can you maybe expand a bit on, I mean, you were close to the guy. He came to see you guys. Can you tell us a little bit what he did for you guys when you won in '96 and just that influence that he had?
Thank you very much, and good afternoon to everyone. I think for us, the timing was perfect, and because we played at a time when South Africa was in reconstruction. We were just new in the international stage as well, but at least we had the factor, as you're saying, with Madiba Magic, where we had a lot to play for. And for us, he was one of, if you ask a lot of players, they'll tell you about the role models of footballers or former footballers. But for us, the number one was Madiba, which was absolutely amazing. And that gave us impetus, towards the tournament. I remember at some point, we were told, for the first time, we were told that Madiba is coming to see us in the camp. And we woke up at 5 a.m. We never woke up at that time, and for the first time we woke up at 5. He came at about 6:30. And to be honest, when the man got into that room where we were sitting, we didn't know whether to stand or to sit. We just had we froze with big lumps in our throat. But he had such an aura, and that's when the Madiba Magic rubbed on us. And we knew after that, after giving us a pep talk about, he make us realize where we are and what we are about to get into. Which was absolutely amazing. It inspired us, in a way that when we left that room, we wanted to go in the field of play, and that's how we felt. And for us, from the first game till to the last game, it was Madiba Magic. He was always coming into the hotel, for that little pep talk. But how it really brought the country together was absolutely amazing. The Rainbow Nations. I mean, mind you that we've won the rugby. Neil has alluded to it, that we won the rugby 95. And for us, we didn't have any pressure to win the 96, but we knew the responsibility of wearing that jersey.
And just shooting forward now, I mean, it's 28 years since South Africa won a Cup of Nations. You, Neil, and your colleagues are becoming more legendary by the day with the absence of subsequent success. But what did you make of this team here, and how close were they to being maybe as good as you guys?
Yeah, the thing is that I don't like to compare, the two teams. To be honest, it's different generation, different breed of players. For us, we had a great team in a short period of time that we've come back. But the good thing is that we laid a foundation and we set the bar for the upcoming or aspiring, successful African champions. And nobody expected this team to reach this as far as they did. For different reasons. Since we've never had a great history of winning games, and we had never had a great team. But given a chance, this team will write their own history in time. I think we've seen and how they fought and how they were inspired. Obviously, they started a bit slow, but because of the length of the tournament, they kept improving, and for us now, we were cheering, from home, from everywhere, for Bafana, and at some point, we felt and we believed that they can win it.
Thanks so much, Lucas. I want to move to 2012, where, Chris, you will agree with me that maybe if we go through the lists of all the Cup of Nations winners, 2012 was the year where perhaps you were the real outsiders to win the competition. When you guys arrived in Gabon, Equatorial Guinea for that tournament, what was your thinking? Do you think you guys could win? Did you set yourself maybe a quarterfinal place? What were your ambitions when you arrived there?
Thank you very much, Mark, for that question. First of all, I'm honored to be here. I've learned something from the legends. All these big legends, they have been in football before me, so I'm happy also to be here. And thanks for the Ivorians fans, Ivorian people. I think CAF and Ivory have organized very, very well so that the tournament can be successful. So I'm hoping to watch the final and third and fourth. I think for the question mark, coming to Gabon, I think everybody knows about the story of our national team. They perished in 1993. The whole entire national team perished in Gabon air disaster. So the time that they were announcing that the tournament is going to be shared by Equatorial Guinea and Gabon, our mind was like, this is where everybody team perished. And I had the opportunity to go to the river where the plane crash for every player to go there, and it just was emotion. I think we were camping in South Africa. By the time we are going to Gabon, Mark, I knew that we're going to win this tournament.
And can you tell us why?
First of all, individually, I was counting every time the team beat Zambia to reach in the final. From 1994, when Zambia lost to Nigeria, 96, I think I remember Tunisia beat Zambia reaching the final. 2008, I think also it's Egypt beat Zambia, they reaching the final. So I was counting 2010, they beat us in the penalties, they reached in the final. So 2012, I calculated that is our time. We don't need to lose the game, and it's going to be played where our national team perished, and Zambia were crying for 32 years, crying for this trophy to come home, as Dennis Ruwewe said. You know about the Dennis Ruwewe. And looking at the period, we were still dominant in terms of football, but not winning the tournament. So I knew when it was in Gabon, this is our time. If this time doesn't come, it will never come. So I knew that I will lift this tournament.
And Chris, there are a lot of Ivorians here who will have a memory of Didier Drogba getting the penalty in I think it was the 70th minute. It was a tough game for you guys. It was a very good Ivorian side. He put the ball down, and we all know what happened. But what were you thinking now? Did you think that it was over now?
Seriously, no, Mark. I knew that this is our time, and in football there is still missing and scoring. You know, if we look at the tournament, how we started, we were the underdogs because we play Senegal. No one would listen to us to speak, comparisons of players. We have players who are playing in Congo. Myself, I was playing in China. We had players who are playing in South Africa. And if you look at Senegal, we had the Papi Cissé, the Dembaba of Chelsea, just to mention a few. After we beat them, still nobody believed that we're going to win the tournament. We play Libya 2-2. Nobody still believed that we're going to win the tournament. Then we play the host, Congo Brazzaville. I think we beat them 1-0. I scored the only goal. Still nobody believes it. We play Sudan. They say, yes, Sudan we can beat. But Sudan are very strong. We beat them. Now we meet Ghana. That's where there was some questions for me to the media. I say, who are you? And stuff like that. That's why I wrote a bookmark, to talk about the history of Zambia. So we beat Ghana, and then we reached in the final. For sure, we were still underdogs, and nobody was listening to us talk about Didier Drogba, Yaya Toure. Who are we? But the determination and looking at our history and looking at what happens in Gabon, and the final is in Gabon, which way do you want to honor your fellow players who died to just come and lift the Africa Cup? And those at the time, that the moment that came in, and I knew that this is our time. If it's not the time, I don't think we're going to lift the Africa Cup.
It's a fabulous story. Well done, Chris. You can clap for him. Last Anglophone is me and you, Joseph. We're moving to 2013. Daniel spoke a little bit about the influence of the big boss, but can you tell us a bit more about Stephen Keshi and his influence? He was the great captain of the first Nigerian team that went to the World Cup of Nations winner, 94, etc. How much of an influence was he on that side?
Good afternoon, everybody. It's been a wonderful day already for me. Coming here and sitting with the super legends, those that paved the way before my generation. This is AFCON. For me, it's always special. And Mark, like you rightly mentioned, I can't sit here and speak much enough about the big boss. He was so influential as a person and as a footballer. I think Coach Dan here knew him a bit better, but I came through the national team at a very young age. And that being said, he was one of those because I was kind of playing similar position. I can remember vividly, I think it was Mali 2000, and we had a third place game to play, and he called me and said, hey, you have to leave that game. He was a big figure, not only for Nigeria, and not only for African football, but for me personally. His record speaks for itself, but as a coach as well, when you talk about Nigerian football, in 2013, I think he was the biggest factor, because he brought not only his playing mentality into it, but, as a human being, he was able to also manage certain situations and his philosophy about football. I think Dan was an assistant coach, and he did something that was surprising to me, even as a captain. When I saw the list, I was like, oh, what is going on? Because in my head, I was thinking this is going to be my last AFCON, because that was going to be my 6th participation. And I saw the list. I was a bit worried, because he's already spoken. They have a reason why they left out maybe other players that were playing in Europe. And they brought in some unknown elements, like players that weren't relatively known, but they were playing in the Nigerian league. And I think that was another defining factor for us, what helped our team. But that was done by the big boss himself, because, when a coach wins, everybody sings his praises. But when he loses, also he gets the criticism and also gets fired. So I think he knew what he was doing. May his soul rest in peace. So those elements of surprise, those players that were relatively unknown, helped the Super Eagles, helped our national team. Because like I said earlier, I was a bit shocked, and some of my teammates who actually thought they could have been in that team called me and said, and I told them I wasn't aware of the list. So it could have backfired, but that tells you the kind of coach that he was and the kind of person that he was. Because Nigeria is so huge, especially when you talk about African and global football, for him to take such a responsibility because if he backfired, everyone would have been on him. So yeah, he was able to manage the situation very well, and when you sit around him and speak to him, he has that winning mentality. And I always think that to win championship, you actually do need the winning mentality. And in 2013, that was what he was able to install in us, especially the younger ones that were coming into the team, that really made a huge impact that led us to winning the AFCON. He made them believe in themselves, which is always very hard, especially for a prestigious tournament like AFCON. So Stephen Keshi, huge figure for football, but as a human being, I thought he was even better.
And you might disagree with me here, but as an observer, I thought that final was a little bit, you guys were the heavy favorites. Burkina Faso were playing in the first final. They were a little bit of an upset that they got into the final. What's the mentality when everybody reckons you're going to win? How dangerous is that potentially?
Yeah, it is very dangerous because the fans, everybody, the media, you are the favorites. But then you have to go to the pitch and perform. And considering how we have performed to get to the finals, in my head, because I've been through it, and that was my sister, I know that sometimes you play your best football and you lose. So it was about grinding out results, because you don't just get lucky. You must have worked your socks off and get to the finals. So getting to the finals was about winning. So however we wanted, it was about winning and taking that trophy home, because before my generation, I think in Dan's generation and Kano's generation, they've won the 94. So 94 to 2013, that was about 19 years. No, 19,
almost 20.
Almost 20, 19 years, almost 20 years. So especially in my generation, there was this talk about I and some of my colleagues playing well and having a whole lot of cars, but we haven't won a tournament. So I came into that tournament and said, this is going to be my last. So everything that we have to give, encouraging ourselves and knowing that this opportunity don't come by every time, because we look from the time we have won it, 1980 to 94 to 2013, this was going to be our time. And considering the facts, how we played together. So we knew we had a chance. Like you rightly mentioned, we're playing Burkina Faso. On paper, they are underdogs. We're supposed to beat them. But we know that finals could go either way. But like I said, everything again to the big boss, making us believe that we can win, and we win for everybody. And especially for myself, sometimes you have to take a back seat to be a champion. So it was very important as a team. I think there was character. And most importantly is when you see a championship team, it doesn't mean everything goes smoothly. There are internal issues that we were able to manage, those issues that brought out the best in us. So we showed a lot of character to be champions, and that's why we were able to beat Burkina Faso.
Thanks very much, Joseph, and congratulations to you, Lucas, sitting next to these two Everton guys and surviving in the last 20 minutes.
Alors Marc, moi je suis très contente lorsque vous parlez de ce charme du football. On peut être favori et perdre la compétition, comme on peut ne pas s'attendre à une équipe qui arrive jusqu'au bout. C'était le cas du Cameroun en 2017. Ce n'était pas vraiment le grand Cameroun qu'on avait connu, ce n'était pas le favori de la compétition. Mais vous étiez là, Benjamin, et bien sûr, vous avez joué votre partition, très bien d'ailleurs. Parlez-nous un peu de ce souvenir-là, de cette CAN remportée en 2017.
Tout d'abord, bonjour à tous. Déjà, pour moi, c'est un plaisir de me retrouver ici au milieu de toutes ces légendes qui nous ont fait rêver pour la plupart. J'ai eu l'occasion de vous voir jouer, d'ailleurs, un outil qui existe bien, je pense que tout le monde a aussi fait, c'est Internet, de découvrir ces grands joueurs qui nous ont inspirés, parce qu'aujourd'hui, si on est là aussi, c'est grâce à eux, et c'est un plaisir encore pour moi d'être là et de partager ce moment-ci avec vous. Je pense qu'en 2017, c'est vrai qu'on ne partait pas favori parce que le Cameroun aussi traversait quand même une période compliquée de son football. On avait notamment raté la CAN en 2012 et en 2013, on n'avait pas participé. En 2015, on a fait un mauvais parcours parce qu'on ne sort même pas des poules, on est éliminé au premier tour. Et en 2017, plus personne ne croyait, parce que c'était quand même une mauvaise période, et aussi on n'avait pas les vents avec nous, en fait, on avait des vents contraires, parce qu'on a plein de joueurs qui ont décidé au dernier moment de ne pas venir en sélection. Donc ça a été un poids, et malheureusement ou heureusement d'ailleurs, ils ne sont pas venus. On a réussi à composer une équipe comme ça avec des gens volontaires, et ça rejoint un peu le discours que mes collègues ici ont dit tout à l'heure, un bon joueur, un grand joueur peut vous faire gagner un match, mais une équipe vous fait gagner un tournoi. Et quand j'entends les interventions des uns et des autres, on se rend compte qu'en fait, à la fin des fins, c'est vraiment l'équipe qui gagne, même si aujourd'hui, c'est nous qui sommes mis en avant parce qu'on était peut-être des capitaines de nos sélections. Mais grâce à ces joueurs-là qui ont été avec nous, on a réussi à aller décrocher ce trophée. Et ben, je pense que c'est pour ça qu'il faut toujours avoir cet esprit d'équipe, cette compétitivité. L'objectif, c'est de gagner, mais bien sûr qu'il y a du travail aussi qui doit être fait en amont. Et voilà, c'est pour ça qu'on a réussi à créer l'exploit, on va dire.
Écoutez, moi, la dernière question, nous, personnellement, on n'aura jamais l'occasion d'avoir une étoile. Hein, c'est le cas de beaucoup ici. On le vit voilà, à travers notre équipe nationale. Mais vous, vous avez eu cette étoile-là. Et dites-nous un peu, racontez-nous un peu cette sensation-là d'avoir remporté une Coupe d'Afrique des Nations pour son pays. Je pense que la sensation, elle est très forte. Elle est d'autant plus forte lorsque personne ne vous attend. Personne n'aurait misé une pièce sur vous. Moi, je me rappelle encore à l'époque, lors de la conférence de presse d'après-match, je disais que s'il y avait quelqu'un qui avait misé une pièce, peut-être il aurait été milliardaire. Mais bon, personne n'a pris le pari de le faire. Mais cette sensation-là, elle est même pas, on ne peut même pas l'exprimer. Parce qu'on se rappelle de tout ce qu'on a traversé, d'autant plus qu'on a vécu un parcours quand même difficile. On a dû éliminer le Sénégal, le grand Sénégal, avec Sadio Mané. On est tombé face au Ghana des frères Ayou, on gagne en demi-finale. Et puis la Grande Égypte, parce qu'il faut quand même rappeler que dans l'histoire du football africain et de la Coupe d'Afrique, l'Égypte a très souvent battu le Cameroun. Donc on se retrouve face à un adversaire qui nous a souvent gagné. L'idée, c'est de briser quand même ce signe indien qui existe depuis des années. Et voilà, par chance, je vais dire, et puis par talent aussi, parce que le talent, il y en avait aussi dans notre équipe. On avait des super joueurs, notamment Vincent Boubacar, qui continue encore, qui joue aujourd'hui. On réussit à gagner l'Égypte. C'était un moment extraordinaire. Et surtout le retour au pays avec ce trophée. Mais de l'autre côté, je pense que ça a permis quand même de rétablir une certaine forme de justice, surtout du football camerounais, et de se dire qu'effectivement, on peut partir de rien avec une équipe pas très compétitive, et décrocher la lune, décrocher le soleil. C'est ce qu'on a réussi à faire. Et ça a permis aussi à notre football de pouvoir se relancer. Et on voit que même si cette année, on n'a pas fait un très bon parcours, hein, mais il y a une base qui est là, qui est solide. Maintenant, il faut surfer sur cette bonne vague et puis préparer le futur. Merci beaucoup, Benjamin. Et puis, j'ai un message aussi des Ivoiriens pour vous, à transmettre, bien sûr, aux Camerounais. C'est de vous dire que la Côte d'Ivoire adore le Cameroun. C'est simplement du je t'aime, moi non plus. Donc, n'en doutez point. Merci beaucoup. Non, mais nous aussi, on adore le Cameroun. C'est la belle famille, d'ailleurs. Bien sûr, à la Côte d'Ivoire. Marc, à vous.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, most of the media guys have been here since 11 o'clock. This is our third press conference. I see there's a lot of heavy eyelids. So may I suggest we are going to go straight to the mix zone, where you can get your questions answered. Must be a little bit better than doing one-on-one. Do I get a yes on that? Thank you, thank you. Oh, yes, and a picture first. So, gentlemen, if you come to the front just for a picture, and then we will organize the mix zone for you guys. But thank you very much, everybody. Thank you. Brother. Nice to see you, man. Are you well? Are you well? When did you come?
I've been here since the quarters.
No.
I came Ghana.